Okay. So on minute 320, on the back, you did number 28, which they had a drawing for you, so you didn't have to sketch it. Okay, you just needed to fill in where the stuff was at. Okay, so you had a right triangle. Okay, so we've got a right triangle. This one, I know it's on here, but this one is always your what? What letter? C. Okay, so that's the one that has to stay consistent. Okay. They can switch the A and the B, and some of the times they have a drawing for you, other times you have to draw. Okay, so that was one of the questions on 30. They're like, where do I put the A? It doesn't matter where you put the A, just make sure that the little a is on the opposite side. It's the C that matters. Okay, so capital letters are angles, and then this would be lowercase. And then they had capital A at the top, so that means opposite side would be little a, and then B, so opposite side would be little b. Okay, so it said, given that A is 25, okay, so capital A is 25 degrees, and little c is 17, they want us to find B. Okay, so remember, we're always using the one that they gave us, okay? And then they always give you a side, assuming you're not finding the angle, and then you're finding the other side. Okay, so in relationship to this angle, this is the hypotenuse. Okay, and in relationship to the angle, this is the adjacent. Okay, so we're looking for two formulas, and again, I have it written on the board in orange over there. So we're looking for adjacent and hypotenuse. So the one that has adjacent and hypotenuse is cosine. Okay, so that symbol that's after cosine is the representation of the what? Angle. Okay, so the angle that they gave you was 25. So sometimes you're finding the angle, so then that means you would have all of the fractions. Okay, when you're finding the angle, that means that you're using what button on your calculator? The second button or the shift button. Okay, so just keep that in mind when you're doing that. Okay, so cosine has adjacent on top, so adjacent on top, we didn't know what that was. Okay, over the hypotenuse, which we did know what it is. Okay, so I'm not going to push the buttons. I just want to make sure you notice the difference between the multiply and divide. So when the variable's on top in your calculator, you're going to what? Multiply. Okay, so green and yellow calculators, it's backwards, 25 cosine times 17. All the other calculators, because yours has the parentheses, then in parentheses is always going to be the angle. Okay. So you would go 17 times and then hit cosine, it brings up the parentheses, and then you would put 25 in there. Okay? We're good? Back in the brain from what we did last week. Okay, so then the next one. Oops. The next one, they have the drawing for you, but this time the drawing is going this way. 17 is here, 8 is here, and 15 is here. And then all they had was the capital letters. Okay? And in the directions, it says find tan A. Okay, so tan A means you're finding this angle measurement. Okay, so tangent, if you look at tangent, it's what over what? Opposite over adjacent. Okay, so opposite over adjacent. Okay, so they want us to find A. So we're finding the angle for A. Okay, so in relationship to this angle of those three numbers, which one is the opposite? 8. Okay, that's the opposite. Okay, of the two numbers that are left, which one is the adjacent? 15. Why? What is this one called? Hypotenuse. Good. Okay, so opposite is on top, so opposite would be the 8 on top, and then adjacent is the 15 on top. When I walk around and help people, you flip those. Okay. So be careful of that. Make sure you're putting it. It matters which one you're putting where, because you're either going 15 divided by 8, which would give you a totally different number than 8 divided by 15. Okay, so make sure you're putting them in the right spot. And then this is the one where you have to hit the second button. Okay, so non-green and yellow calculators, you went 8 divided by 15 inside the parentheses, but you're hitting your second tangent button first. Okay. Because it gives you the tan -1. And then the green and yellow calculators, you have to go 8 divided by 15 and then hit equals, and then the second and tangent button, because ours doesn't put in the parentheses. Okay. You good? Okay, then the last one. And then you guys are going to try one for today. Okay, so the last one, you're finding all of the missing ones. Okay, and this one didn't have a drawing for you, so it doesn't matter how you draw your right triangle, just draw a right triangle. This is C, this is little c, and then you can choose to put A or B wherever. Okay, I'm going to put A at the top, so this would be little a, B here, so the opposite would be little b. Okay, and it says solve the right triangle given that A is 15. Okay, A is 15. C is 90, which that's always a given because that's your right angle always. And then little a is 9. Okay, how did we find the missing angle? Could you have another one today? Yeah.
Add them together and then minus 180.
Good. So we go 90 and 15, subtract from 180 to find our missing one. Okay, so anytime they say solve for the right triangle, that's what you're doing is finding all the missing ones. Okay, so we would find that one. Okay, and then I told you when we did notes, don't go back and use like this one that you just found, because you never know if you make some sort of mistake along the way, you're going to mess up all the other ones now. Okay, so just stick with what they gave you. So they gave you this one, and then in relationship to this one's called the opposite. And it doesn't matter. You can choose to start with this one or this one. Okay, so if I decided to go with this one's called the hypotenuse. Okay, so if I'm finding this and this, so this is opposite, this is hypotenuse, which one are you going to use? Sine. Okay, so you would have sine of 15, and sine has opposite on top, so 9 on top, over the hypotenuse, you don't know. Okay, am I multiplying or dividing? Dividing. So when you're green and yellow calculators, you're going 9 divided by 15 sin equals. Everybody else's that puts it in the calculator, you're going to go 9 divided by sin, and then it brings your parentheses up to put the 15 inside it. Okay. Okay, so then the one that's left, okay, you would use this and the opposite one, but now this one is called the adjacent. Okay, so if you're using opposite and adjacent, so opposite and adjacent is tangent, so it'd be tan 15, and then tangent has opposite on top, so opposite on top over adjacent, and you're going to do the same thing that you did on this one. Okay, so green and yellow, you go 9 divided by 15, and then equals and then tangent. Okay, and then everybody else's is 9 divided by tangent, and then it puts parentheses with the 15. Okay. We're good? Okay, so obviously I don't need those, but those are your notes. Okay, so today you're starting with one that looks just like this, but fresh, brand new numbers. You have the ladder one on there, so if you can't remember how to do the ladder one, you've got your notes in front of you, unless you wrote it on another sheet of paper, which okay. So the magnet is on the calendar, and that is what you are working on. So officially kicking off algebra stuff. So we're going to practice this until Thursday, and we will test on it on Friday. Okay. On these, some of these you'll probably get done quick. Okay. These different algebra sections, depending on how you do on them. So what's something that you could be chipping away at on? Okay. Because I'm here in class and I can help you get through those as well. Okay. That would be a good thing. And then that way you don't have to do it outside of class. Okay. Get done with con early. Okay. Let me know and I can get that put in as well, which will help your grade significantly. Okay. If you need it. Okay, also your notebooks grade sheet got handed back to you. Remember what I talked about? Like, if you're in doubt, like you feel like you have that, you can come up to the basket and check your notebook. Your notebook does not go back to your desk. Okay, that you leave them with a test. Okay, so you can stand over there and look at it, and then if you have a question, then you can show me. Okay, you're not taking a pen with you over there. You're not doing any of that stuff. You can show me like it's here. Okay, but it doesn't leave with you. Okay. If not, you can toss that sheet. I just wanted you to see what your score was. Okay? All right, go for it. 3, 2, 3. You're tagged into it when I open this side. There.
question, really, you can fix that. Give me this number here, yeah. It makes sense. Is it about monkey?